Hi guys, welcome to today's tutorial. Looking today at how to make sure we get at least a grade 5 on English language paper 1, and I'll be using the summer 2017 paper for this. So it'd be a good idea if you could beg, borrow, steal a copy of that. If you're going to have a go at it too, your teacher should be able to give you a copy. If not, you could send me an email or a message on here and I can fire off a copy to you. So for this, it would be a good idea, as I say, if you've been able to have a look at the text and be able to have a read through of it. My camera's a bit wobbly. So if you've not had this, I mean, lots of you will have done this for your mock exams, I'm sure. But if you haven't, pause the video now. Oops, see if I can zoom out a tiny bit. Right, pause the video now and have a read through. And I'll just if you pause it here to read this side, and then I'll turn over the page so you can read the rest of the extract. So if you can pause now and have a read, and if you pause again now, you can see the second side of it, the rest of the extract. Okay, I'll move on then, assuming that you've been able to read the extract and you're really familiar with the tiredness of Rosabelle. Hopefully yourselves aren't feeling too tired by Rosabelle at this point. And just again, a reminder to always have a look at the information at the front of the source. We know that it's an extract from a short story, and crucially 1908. Okay, so we are going to be perhaps expecting some more archaic language, characters and settings that are more old-fashioned. So we're just going to look at question 1 in this first tutorial. And I think it's just worth, sometimes we as teachers can have a tendency as well to assume that this is a done deal, this question. But I think it's important that we make sure that there's a few silly sort of mistakes that students sometimes make, and make sure that we're just really ironing out anything like that. So the question was to list 4 things about Rosabelle from between lines 1 to 5. So that was just that small extract there in that first paragraph. And you were just asked to list 4 things. As you may have seen in previous videos, I suggest putting 5 things down. Now, I wouldn't suggest doing this many in the exam because that would be wasting your time, but putting an extra one down is a good idea. The exam board will take your best 4, not your first 4. And so these are some of the answers you could have had. She bought violets, she'd eaten a scone, a boiled egg, blah, 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 blah. And another thing that's kind of maybe worth noticing or worth pointing out is that if you've put one down, like she'd eaten a scone, had a boiled egg and drunk cocoa, you would get a mark for each of those, which is kind of good to know. That wouldn't count as 1 mark, that would be 3 individual things, because you could have just put down she'd had a scone, just put down she'd had a boiled egg, and just drunk cocoa. They would be separate marks. So even if you'd just done, she bought violets and this, you would still be getting 4 out of 4 for this question. Now, where in the summer that we saw students go a little bit wrong was actually when they were trying to do too much in the way of inference. Actually, students overthought this question, and they were reading between the lines, and really kind of, there was no evidence for what they came up with. So we can see why it would be a clear assumption that she lived in Oxford Circus, but actually all we know is that she was catching the bus, that she was buying the violets, and then she was getting the bus. So there's no actual evidence that she lives in Oxford Circus. Equally, we know that she was hungry and that she would have sacrificed it, but it's not explicit that she wants food, neither that she's going home or that she didn't want to get her clothes dirty. So we've got to just be really careful with this question, not to assume things, not to infer or read between the lines. And as you'll see that I've done here, the best answers are very short bullet points that just start with she or he or it, a pronoun, and then a very short point. So don't overthink this question, and certainly, just be careful around anything that's an inference. And really, this is the exam board's way of easing all of you into the exam paper. So this should be a question you feel confident getting 4 marks on. Okay, told you it'd be short and sweet.